Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 20s podcast. This is a podcast for the girls in their 20s who are seeking a life lived to the fullest. We're having all kinds of conversations that we're passionate about, from health, wellness, fitness. Wow, we started things off with a lot of health, wellness, fitness, spirituality, friendships, business, all the things that we love most. And I'm one of your hosts, Liv.
And I'm Meg.
And we're best friends, roommates. We've been in it for the haul with each other. And now we're having a podcast, and this is our 5th episode.
So we've been doing this for over a month now.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's actually crazy.
It's starting to feel like a flow.
It is, yep.
And
it's been good to just like commit to it.
Yeah.
Give ourselves like, okay, we said we're going to do it every week, and we're doing it every week. And
this week,
it's getting easier.
It was
every
close
week.
for me to dip out, I'll be honest. I told you guys last week I was in my luteal phase of my period. And I'm still in it.
Yeah.
But today I'm just a few days closer to my period, and the energy levels are low, which is okay.
Yeah.
We're just going to come as we are.
Yep.
Low energy levels and everything.
The girlies know what it's like.
The girlies know. The girlies are
here.
empathetic, and they're just cool with it. So
with that, Liv, do you want to kick us off with some
high-low buffalo?
high-low buffalo?
Yeah, I took tons of notes on this. Just kidding. Okay, my high from the week. Honestly, I was just thinking about this, and honestly, the thing that I'm thinking about was on Saturday I made muffins. And honestly, it's a high. It was just a really grounding moment for me. And honestly, it was there's actually a long story that I probably shouldn't go into about making these muffins, but I was like, this is what I need today. Today, I need to just make some muffins. And we have this incredible new muffin recipe, and it's so fire. And so that's my high.
Yeah. When I saw the Coco June yogurt in the fridge, I knew muffins had been made.
Muffins have been made. So honestly, DM if you want the recipe. Low. I got a lot going on. And sometimes too much of a good thing isn't a good thing, ladies. I know that there's some of you who understand this. And so there's been lots of good change, new work stuff, but honestly, I'm pretty tired, and my hormones are really low right now, so it just feels kind of like a lot, but that's okay. That's my low. Too much good. Too much high, good. I have lows. Just kidding. There's also plenty of other things, but that's my low, my buffalo. I have no idea. I didn't write this down. What's my buffalo? Got any thoughts for me?
Young Sheldon.
Oh my gosh, that's a good buffalo. So I've been loving watching Young Sheldon, and your sister roasted me for watching Young Sheldon because she said, Young Sheldon, really? And I was like, that's some quality television. It's lighthearted, funny. It's not like too dirty or dark, which I don't do well with stuff like dark shows. And it's been a vibe. And yesterday I watched about 2 hours worth of Young Sheldon. That's my high-low buffalo.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, how about you?
I would say my low is similar. Tired. I feel like we've been tired girlies this last week, this weekend, today. Tired girls.
So tired.
Also, luteal phasing last week, perioding this week. So we're just
the joys.
A little bit, but we know we're like close to like going back up. The energy is like right around the corner.
We're gonna be unstoppable next week, everybody.
Yeah, but we try to lean into it of like, okay, lower energy, what type of work should we be doing, and that sort of stuff. So it's not
watch
like
2 hours of Young Sheldon on a Sunday
because of that. Take a nap, and so try to lean into it and not just be discouraged by it. But definitely the low is, it's hard to be tired when it's a busy season of life, and you're like, I just need the energy right now.
It keeps us humble.
Yeah, it does.
Humble and surrendered to God, honestly.
Yeah, we need him. Lord help me.
Girl boss mode is not activated.
No, not today.
Nope, I'm a little girl who needs to be babied by everybody and God.
Last night when I couldn't sleep because Liv and I both were not sleeping last night.
Which, when I don't sleep, it's something's going on.
It's probably spiritual. I was literally, because I was doing everything to try to fall asleep, I was envisioning myself as this like little bean trying to sleep in God's hand.
I love
I'm picturing God's hand being this like massive hand, and I'm just like this little bean trying to sleep in it.
That can be our Instagram post this week. It's literally God's hand with Meg as a little bean in it.
A little bean. It brought me a ton of peace.
Wait, that can be the thumbnail. Just a big God's hand.
Little bean. It brought me a ton of peace. I did not fall asleep through that. I ended up watching an episode of The Chosen, and that's what knocked me out. So that was a low. High, I worked a wedding this weekend, which is always super fun to coordinate. Like 2 years ago, Liv and I decided to start a business called Cooley Creative House. And it was kind of an umbrella business for creative work, weddings. We fell into wedding planning, wedding coordinating, wedding flowers. We worked like marketing work, content creation, Olipop, like a bunch of random.
It was really for all of our contract work.
Yeah, and so for like 2 summers, we went pretty hard in the wedding business, and now I kind of just do it here and there for friends or some mutual friends when it feels like the right fit. Yeah, because I've gotten it down to a science where it's pretty easy, and I do have a lot of fun with it. So worked a wedding this weekend, which was just fun, sweet. Weddings are just the best. I was crying all day.
Your day one of your period.
Feels, day one of period, and I'm just sobbing. This dad, when he saw the daughter during their first look, like wept, and I was like, I'm not okay.
Being sad right now.
I'm gonna take a minute, but it was beautiful. Really sweet day, and just got me so much more excited for getting married. So
crazy. It's gonna be here so soon.
Yeah, that was a high. Buffalo this last week. Last week on the podcast, we were talking about how it's so sunny and it was spring and we're going for walks. And then classic Wisconsin, we got hit with like a nasty little snow day, ice cold weather.
Gross. It was heavy snow.
So these flowers are still bringing us a lot of joy, but it was really gross. And so,
and it's not as warm anymore.
Yes.
It dropped. Like today, we had a meeting this morning and we were freezing. The little like Free People Dolman jacket and my leather jacket. Like I wish I had my parka on, but we were being so hopeful, thinking so spring. But it's hard to put the parkas back on.
Yeah.
But the weather has shifted.
It has. But my mentor last week gave me good advice. I saw her in the midst of this like cold day, and she was just talking about the change of seasons, like the change of physical weather when it's changing seasons, but how that often resembles a life. And I feel like we just feel that so hard, where we like so badly can want it to be the next season and want it to be spring and summer, and we get glimpses of it, which is awesome, and we get to like enjoy, prepare for the shift that's to come. But then we sometimes get smacked in the face with the fact that the change isn't yet here and we're still in like the reality of today. And so I feel that so hard in life. So it's been good to reflect on that with like the actual physical seasons around us. You love seasons.
I love
and
seasons.
Talk so much about it. So
I feel like they're so spiritual, like God created them, and so he's so glorified in it. But something that you shared that your mentor said was that I found really encouraging. And that's like the importance of the transition of seasons. Yeah. Where if it went immediately from winter to like spring or spring to like summer, like overnight, our bodies actually would not be well with how harsh the transitions can be, especially here in Wisconsin. Like it gets so cold and so dry. And then we shift to like very hot and very humid. And if that happens super quickly, it would be really hard on our bodies, and we wouldn't be sleeping and we wouldn't be digesting food the same, and how it's actually really essential to our health for like every stage of the season, even like 2 steps forward and 1 back. I found that super encouraging. I was like, that's for sure. To just embrace, you know, now that it's cold again, it's like, okay, it's cold, but at the same time, this is part of the process.
Yeah. No, that was so good.
Because like, come on.
Same in life. Like, if all the things changed immediately in one day, we would freak out. Yes. And so we would not be okay.
We literally are, like, processing this at the moment. Like, we were literally processing this morning. We have so much transition, and we wouldn't be able to handle it.
Not at all.
We, genuinely wouldn't be able to.
The grace of God that it's a transition period.
So true.
Gonna keep embracing it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's our high-low Buffalo. And which brings us into our second segment, which we've done once before. And that's the challenge. So here's the thing. We thought we got better. I think we did for a second.
I think that helped in the episode right after it, but this last one was brutal.
Yeah. We were like in an oven.
An oven.
An oven. Like in an oven. The entire time. And so we thought we would just quickly set ourselves up for success for this episode by slowing down, thinking about the and doing a little challenge to get us going here. So I'm going to have Meg start because I haven't even quite decided on what my story is going to be. And maybe we should if you're new to the podcast and you didn't hear the first challenge, basically what we're doing is I'm going to ask Meg and Meg's going to ask me to share a story that I don't know what Meg's about to ask me. And then I'm going to share the story for, should we put a minute on the clock or a minute and a half?
I'm going to do a minute and a half.
So we're going to put a minute and a half on the clock. And every time that one of us says or in an out of context way, that's a point, and whoever has the most points is the loser.
Yep, I was the loser last time, so I'm ready.
Meg's coming back with vengeance. I'm scared.
All right, I went back to the depths of high school life for Meg and Liv for this story. Oh boy. So once upon a time in high school, we were part of this club called DECA. Okay. And my sister was hosting this event called Rock the Mic.
Oh,
And we didn't know if anybody was coming, and so Liv took it into her hands to make this the most magical, coolest event to be at. And so I want her to share her genius marketing efforts in making this the highlight of the school year when it was kind of a lame event.
Okay, I should have put this in my high school portfolio because this was good. So Rock the Mic was basically a talent show where people would sign up to give performances. Like Meg said, no one bought tickets for the event, and I heard about this, and we were in this club that was a part of the Rock the Mic event, and so I found this bag of lanyards in the classroom, and I started printing off these VIP. I said I started printing off these VIP tickets and connecting it to the lanyards. And I went around school and I handed out these lanyards to everybody. But people really thought that they were exclusive and they were VIP. So now basically everyone was just going to this event for free. Or I think it was a free event, but anyways. So everyone's showing up to this event. Everyone has lanyards on. Everyone's asking where they can get a lanyard to the event. I'm printing off. I said it again. I'm printing off tickets. I can't keep up. I said it again. This really sucks. I can't keep up with producing these VIP tickets. And then basically the VIP was just basically me blocking off the entire auditorium, I said it again, the first 3/4 of the auditorium. And then we went and we got juice boxes to hand out to everybody. It was a wild turnout. The entire auditorium was packed and it was an incredible time. And I've always been a girl who's loved marketing. That was okay.
To be honest, I didn't even hear you say once.
I think it was kind of demure. It wasn't hard likes. Maybe not, but
they were in there.
That's a good story.
It was good. It was hype. Everybody was bro, where did you get that lanyard? I want to come. What's VIP mean?
I've always been a marketer.
Make it up on the fly of what is VIP.
Sometimes it's so easy to lose sight sometimes of what you're good at, what you've been created for. But that's a really grounding story.
Yeah.
Because I can that was a random, but
it was great.
It was a great experience.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Anyways. Okay.
I'm a little, I don't know what you're going to go with. I'm kind of in the
process of figuring out what to ask Meg, but I think I'm going to ask her about when she went to Panama last year, and I want her to talk about the GI issues that were had on the trip.
Okay. All right, I'll start the timer.
Take it away, Meg.
I always get so nervous. I actually am sweating.
No, I know.
Okay. So last year in January, I went to Panama on a mission trip, and we were in a rural mountain town with not clean water. And so they warned us, if you get the water in your mouth or if the food gets contaminated, there's a good chance you're going to have a bad GI reaction to it. So the first few days, everybody's okay. And I think it was day 3 or 4 where all of a sudden this GI bug hit everybody. And this is a place where there is not good functioning toilets. So we went from 5 toilets for 50 people down to maybe 1 or 2 functioning toilets because it was a disaster.
Are the toilets?
They're normal toilets.
Normal toilets?
Yeah, pretty normal. There's some that were just holes too, I think. So those were still an option for people, but I didn't want to do that. But anyways, all of a sudden, one night, my tummy is like a thunderstorm. It is rumbling, and I knew the morning was not going to be good. And so I made it to breakfast. I was okay, and then I realized it was not going to be good. So I decided to call it quits for the day. I'm going to go back to my room, stay there, have a quiet day, spend time with the Lord.
She did it.
Okay, I did it. I need to finish the story though. Spend time with the Lord and decided to sit on the ground, pretzel-legged. Terrible idea. And when you have a GI problem like this, when you have like a stomach bug, which now I say that the timer goes off, you don't know when it's going to hit you or how. So I'm sitting there,
no mercy,
having genuinely a sweet, holy moment with God, processing, journaling, and what I thought was going to be a little toot ended up being me fully pooping my pants.
Did you have pants on?
I was wearing a skirt, but I had shorts on.
Okay.
So I just threw it away and went on with the day. So I pooped my pants. I'm pretty sure I was not the only person on that trip that pooped their pants.
No, that's so valid.
Thankfully, I was by myself, and it was a very open environment, so I did not even feel embarrassed. And after that, I felt better, so it's okay. But
congrats, Meg.
Thanks.
You did good.
I won.
She won.
Yay. Redemption.
And now we're ready to enter into the podcast with saying less likes and ums.
Saying less likes and ums. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, so what we're going to talk about today is, honestly, we're processing through a lot right now about 20s. Honestly, there's a ton of things we're processing through in life, and we don't think we're the only ones who are processing through a lot, because we were literally with a bunch of our girlfriends this morning, and all of them are processing through tons of change. Like I have to not care if I say like.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, we're going to move forward. Annie, our podcast producer, Freddie, is also processing through a lot. Everyone's processing through a lot, and I know my siblings are. There's just a lot going on. And so one of the things in our processing that we've said from the beginning of our podcast is we want to bring you guys along with us as we process, instead of processing through it all by ourselves and building 20s all by ourselves. We kind of want to build it along with you guys. And so we're kind of going to let you into, I guess, a big thing that we've been thinking about this week and processing through with the just changing of 20s and growing into it and kind of figuring out what we want it to be. And one thing we're thinking about doing is changing our Instagram name, which maybe doesn't seem like that big of a deal. It's, I guess, not that big of a deal, but at the same time, it's much bigger than just changing our Instagram name. And so right now we have the Instagram name Shop 20s because we had a store where we sold clothing, and that's what it was called, Shop 20s. But when we started the podcast, we tried getting a different handle because we wanted something that felt like it fit more with the podcast. And all the handles we wanted were taken, which was super annoying. But now our whole vision is really starting to evolve a lot. And we do feel like the Shop 20s name is just no longer fitting us anymore. Yeah. I don't know if you want to share anything.
Yeah, so we've just been brainstorming some new ideas of what could this new name be and why would we want to name it that, because what is more of like the core of 20s, and how do we reflect that if someone comes to the page right away, sees the name, wanting it to give them a glimpse into what this space is. So I think with that, we've had a lot of vision, and you've had a ton of vision this week for what 20s is, what it could be, and how we can continue to like walk in that more clearly.
Yeah, for sure. Because last week I think we talked about the community event. That was that last week. So if you listen to last week's podcast episode, we wanted to do this Pilates event 3 times this summer for a place for women to connect, move their bodies, be encouraged, and really just like get to know people. And we wanted it to be the social event, which we still want to do this event. But even this morning, we found out about some big plans that are happening this summer, that one of the days that we were going to do the Pilates event. And we're even realizing that, okay, maybe 3 events this summer is too much. As much as like that is what we thought originally would be ideal.
And it's so exciting to us, where we just are so excited to do stuff like that.
But we're like, okay, maybe we're not going to be able to do that, and we might just have to do one event. But I think this event in general is really provoking a ton of thoughts within us, of us just really figuring out what we're most passionate about. And really, like, this 20s mission has always been encouraging people to live intentionally in their 20s, encouraging meaningful conversations. And I feel like more than ever, we're just super trying to lean into that mission. Of we just really want to encourage women to live intentionally in their 20s. And we want to do that through this event. And we also want to make our Instagram more of an inspiring place to encourage you to live intentionally in your 20s. And so right now we're just posting our podcast clips and stuff on it, which is good. It's a good baby step for us. But I think what we really want to step into is building a brand and just like a really encouraging place for you to come and be inspired to live intentionally in your life. And it feels like we could do that so much better on our Instagram. And Shop 20s just doesn't really make a lot of sense for that to be like the name of it. Where what we're really trying to build is a community of people who are all wanting to do the same thing. And that's living super intentionally and building really beautiful lives and walking in the fullness of who we are. And so we think we need to change our name to something more community centric. And we want to use the name 20s in it. So probably 20s, like, do we name it like 20s girls or 20s girlies or 20s club, or I don't know. We're brainstorming so many things and nothing has like quite hit yet for us, but we think we need to change it to more of a community name instead of a shop.
So if you guys have any ideas,
if you have any ideas for
real,
name.
DM us. And so while we're continuing to brainstorm and take baby steps towards changing it. And
something we've had to like really set ourselves free from is feeling like we're stuck in something. Where I think the first time when we first started our original Shop 20 store, we felt really stuck in what we were doing. And it was like the worst feeling ever to feel that way, where I love how we've been giving ourselves permission to evolve into like more of what God has created us to be. And honestly, just wanting to encourage everybody to do the same over your life, where I know a lot of people feel really stuck in where they're at. I was literally just talking to a new friend about it like last week, where she was just feeling so discouraged and stuck and paralyzed in the work she was doing. And in like, and it made me so sad because obviously there's a season for everything, even if you're not like obsessed with what you're doing. Sometimes you just have to sit and grind through something. But also we need to be able to, I guess, just have the faith, if that's what you're feeling led to, is to evolve and start something new and to just kind of step more into your like truest self that God's created you to be in whatever you're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's just so much permission to change and grow and having to learn how to adapt and even changing life seasons. And so that's been a huge thing, even with the podcast and starting 20s back up. That has been so core for us, is how can we make this sustainable for us, and how can we operate in our giftings best so that we can actually do this well and stay energized and encouraged in it and make sure we're getting the right people around us if we are growing or scaling it all, so that it isn't all on us and we don't take on more than we're supposed to. And so we're definitely just very in process and figuring out how to do that, because it's so different than how we did it the first time around.
Yeah, it's super challenging. I feel like you have to literally rewire everything, like your old way of thinking. And I think one of the ways we do unwire the old way of thinking is even having like people speak life over us and speaking truth of, this is who you are and this is what you've been created for, and like you should keep doing this. And I think that's why we're even just really passionate about creating a community, is because we know the importance of community and the importance of doing things even when sometimes it's more of the path, like it's a path that has a little bit more resistance to it because it's the thing that we're comfortable and we're used to. But in order for us to break free, do something that feels like really peaceful and I guess just peaceful, sometimes we have to take a path of a little bit more resistance, if that makes sense.
For sure. No, that's good. Any other thoughts on just 20s and what we've been processing through? And
no, I don't think I have any more thoughts.
Yeah.
It would be nice if anyone has any names. I will be forever
Gladly
grateful.
Take an idea.
Yeah, but would love to know too, with like, as we're processing through wanting to be more community centric, wanting to do more events, wanting to do more things to connect people, if there's anything that you have any ideas for, or something that you wish that you had in your life when it comes to community, we would love to hear about it. And we've been really trying to be super intentional to respond to like all of our DMs recently, so feel free to just shoot us a DM. So Meg, what is a 20s takeaway you have for the girlies?
I think my 20s takeaway for the week, and a call to action of sorts, is just embracing the transition of seasons, which we've talked about so much already on this podcast. But I think I just need the constant reminder for myself to just be okay and at peace with things not being fully settled yet, and things being in process and things being figured out, and just reminding myself that it's okay that it's not all figured out yet, and don't need to try to control it all or get too ahead of myself, or even try to get ahead of God and where he has me today. And so really this week I'm trying to focus on being present, doing just like grounding things with routines and sleep. And even when sleep is hard, still get up at a good time and do a good morning routine. And routines, I feel like in the midst of things being unsettled, are so grounding and just keep you connected to God and to people. So I guess that's my takeaway and encouragement to figure out what you need to do if you're in the midst of transition or change, to just stay grounded and settled and focused on truth and connected to your people, and don't isolate. So a few random thoughts in there.
No, that's so good. I like how you're just
got.
sharing kind of what you're even just focusing on this week.
Yeah.
Where I think, it's just inspiring to know like you're doing that too, and all the things. So
yeah, but that's me. What about you, Liv?
I think my 20s takeaway is, I think for me, I definitely am someone who's just really passionate about being in the fullness of who you've been created to be, because I really do believe the world just needs everybody being their truest self, God created self. And so I think when we talk about processing today, I think it's just so important, that processing time of like processing who you are, what you've been created for. I think it's just so essential to us being in the fullness. And I think we can think that the process and the transition, like you're talking about, isn't important, but it is so vital for you to actually be able to be the person you desire to be and be the person that God's created you to be. And so I just see so many people in the transition and in the process right now, and that is good. It's a good place to be. Don't be discouraged by being in the middle. But by dreaming and visioning and I always like saying throwing noodles against a wall, you know, like when you're cooking,
Seeing what sticks.
see what sticks. Like, it's like, just take some time to do that, because I think it's really essential to us. Yeah. Just being in the fullness of ourselves. So
yeah. No, that's so good.
Yeah.
It's so necessary to actually
is.
process and take that time and not just jump head first. And
totally.
yeah,
For sure.
that's good.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining in for this week's episode. Comment below if you have any good names for us for our 20s Instagram page, or if you have any ideas for just community events or for things that you desire within community in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for this week's episode.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Bye.